I am joined by my wonderful panel this evening. It's former Conservative Environment Secretary Ranald Wardner, the Labour MP for Northampton North, Lucy Rigby, Liberal Democrat MP for Edinburgh West is Christine Jardine, the Chairman of Reform UK, Zia Youssef. But this show really is all about the people in front of me, my wonderful live studio audience. And there's a chap at the back here who would like to make a point. What point would you like to make, sir?
Well, I'd say just on law and order and the whole prisons issue, perhaps Labour and the Tories should stop blaming each other as to why we're in the mess and start talking about how we're going to fix it and get out of it.
We are. We are talking about that.
Well, you just spent a few minutes blaming the Tories for not building enough prisons, whilst you just let prisoners out, only to send a lot of them back.
I explained why we're in the crisis that we're in. You're absolutely right. But I also talked about building more prisons, more neighbourhood policing, more police officers. I could talk about violence against women and girls and how we're going to tackle that as well.
So let's see it. Let's see your leader, the former Director of Public Prosecutions, actually do something.
Do you know what? I totally agree with you. Let's see. We are doing stuff, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it. You saw how the Prime Minister handled that violent disorder over the summer.
We saw it, and I don't think a lot of us liked it.
He handled it really well. Ranald, you just mentioned two-tier policing. That's a really, really insidious...
I'm sorry to say, that's exactly what we're seeing.
Ranald, no. There were police officers. Policing is without fear or favour. There are police officers in this country that were putting their lives on the line. Some of them got injured. OK, they ended up in hospital. To suggest that they're not doing their jobs
properly... They're being directed by your government.
That's really wrong.
By your government.
OK, everyone. I'm going to let Ranald come back to that, and then we'll take it from there. So, Ranald,
well, first of all, there are now more police on our streets and crime has fallen. But I'm sorry that the lady felt unsafe recently, and that's a problem that we've all got to deal with, to the point that the man at the back said. We've got to deal with the problems. We do know that we need to build more prisons. I think everyone's agreed on that. And Rob Jenrick said that he actually, he said earlier that we built more prison places than when Labour was last in. But the clarity that Kemi put out is a clarity I've not seen for a long time, which is prison works. And we should be prepared to lock violent offenders up and not allow those sorts of people to be released, which is exactly what we're seeing, sadly, under this government.
Zia, if we've got the combination there, Zia, of Kemi Badenoch talking about building more prisons, putting people in them for longer as well, and Robert Jenrick there saying that he does think that we've had, open terrorism support on the streets during some of these marches. That's bad news for reform, isn't it? 'Cause that's exactly what you guys are saying.
The British people are no fools. They weren't born yesterday. The reality is that hearing them talk about these issues is like hearing arsonists come to your door and tell you how to put the fires out that they started. The Tories exploded the size of the population, 1.8 million net new people in the last 3 years, barely built any prisons at all, in fact, actually closed some prisons. And let's not forget, when we talk about two-tier policing, Ranil, remember there was a Tory Home Secretary who wrote an op-ed in The Telegraph flagging quite early on, actually, that there was two-tier policing on the streets of Great Britain, particularly London. What did the Tories do? They rounded on her and banished her from the cabinet. That's what they did. So never forget, they're the ones who caused the problem.
On our police forces in this country, it really is. That is deeply wrong.
All right, OK, I'm sorry, because you've not got the mic, so that's all right, so no one can hear you. So Christine, I'll bring you in on this. We've had two interesting times, really, during this whole leadership debate. So Robert Jenrick was jogging around with Hamas terrorists on a hoodie, OK? Kemi Badenoch also made some comments about how she'd felt as though we'd welcome some people into Britain who, frankly, didn't share our values and maybe actually posed a risk, again, specifically talking about Hamas and Hezbollah. Well, would you agree with either of those two things?
No, and I don't agree with either of them, and I think...
Do you think Hamas are terrorists?
Oh, God, yes, I agree Hamas are terrorists. But I don't agree with the way they're handling it, because you have to be very careful in this situation that you do not incite violence. You do not feed into the hands of the terrorists, of the anti-Semitists, of the people with Islamophobia. You feed into that by ramping it up. And I think we're in a very dangerous position in this country at the moment, because everything is, highly, tense, and everything's an argument, and we need to just calm down our politics, calm down everything, stop making everything so confrontational, because that just ramps up everything on the streets and makes it worse.
OK. All right, OK, some good points there. It's getting a bit of reaction there. Could we get a quick microphone, someone, to the lady at the back, because you had some strong views on it there. If someone could grab a microphone and bring it to our friend at the back. But Ronald, do you agree with what Christina's just said there, that actually these two Tory candidates, they need to calm it down? Are either of them doing that?
Well, no, fundamentally I disagree. I think we've got to speak truth.
We speak truth, but we have to do it carefully.
And, you know, actually the man there said earlier about police taking the knee and so on. I don't think that's right. I think it's important that we are clear about that and we do set certain standards in this country as to what we hope the police will do.
OK.
Exactly.
All right.
We have a Prime Minister who now takes the lead.
Fine. Now, this lady at the front now, it's fair to say that when we went to the audience that was in the venue and the audience here, more people thought that that Kemi Bade not won than otherwise. But I believe that you have a point about Robert Jenrick. Is that right? Could you have the microphone close to your mouth? There we go.
I support Robert Jenrick. I think it's absolutely fantastic. He's put himself out there, made his policy so clear, and that is what we want to know. Whereas with Kemi, she was quite unapologetically, I don't really have any policies, just like me for me. And I don't understand how that could be so attractive to people. What are we meant to then be judging on? I'm nothing against her. I want to like both candidates, but I feel as it's going on, I'm getting more and more polarised with them because she isn't telling us anything, and that is not leadership.
Look, there was unequivocally more actual policy from Robert Jenrick. It's whether or not you agree with that policy, I suppose, whether or not you think that now is the time for it. If the Tories have another 4 and a bit years in opposition, conceivably, do they really need to be writing their manifesto now? But these are all fantastic questions that we can ask and indeed answer in the next hour. Can I say a massive, massive thank you to the panel that we've had so far tonight? Christine Jardine, Zia Youssef, Lucy as well there, of course, and Ranil on the end. Thank you so much, everybody.